Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. I hope the week's going well. Plenty going on. Let me start off with some macro thoughts. BNP have created a love and panic index, and they're saying we're still in panic territory. Home thoughts, look at this photograph, Northern Lights over Jökulsárlón, Iceland, 14th February 2016. Photos by Gil Rochol. And it took me back to that great quote by Don DeLillo, with the last billionth of a second in the evolution of matter. That's really powerful, isn't it, really, when you think about it. I like this: start and finish the race with a big bang, Usain Bolt. A picture by John W. Johnson. It's a pretty good one as well. And then finally, one more photograph. This is Jogo Road near the City Stadium in Nairobi. Political reflections. I got up very early this morning. I had an interview on NTV AM Live and got to listen to President Obama speak today at the Democratic Convention in Philadelphia. And I agree with this from Mother Jones. Obama has given a lot of speeches. Tonight's might just be his best. I like this: we don't fear the future, we shape it. And, it was really a privilege to hear President Obama in person in Kasarani Stadium here in Nairobi, and I love the way he's always taking people by the chin and tilting their chin up when it's tilted down. And as I said previously, it's an election between the forces of the perception of a dystopian future versus a more optimistic perception. And LA Times is saying this presidential election has become a battle between fear and facts. Donald Trump aims at the fears of many Americans that the country is spiraling toward an abyss, using visceral images that are powerful, if often inaccurate. And I remember reading that somebody was fact-checking Donald Trump, but the point is it's irrelevant to fact-check it. This is a political contest being fought on emotions. Hillary Clinton has utilized an endless supply of figures and proposals to persuade Americans that the country is making progress and could make more under her presidency. International markets, obviously the big decision was in the US, which was widely expected. They didn't raise interest rates, but sort of signaled that the economy was strengthening. You have the election, however, and it's difficult to see more than a quarter-point rise now before the end of the year. LVMH revenue at the wines and spirits business increased 13% in the quarter, beating expectations, boosted by champagne in the US and Europe, and rebounding cognac sales in China. China has been a soft market for a while. Let's move on to the currency markets. Euro 110.98, just below 111. Dollar index came off 96.50, but the key area is 93. Swissy 0.9852. The pound got over 132, last trading 131.75. The Australian dollar 0.7534. India rupee 67.055. South Korean won 11.2640. Rial 3.2620. Egyptian pound 8.8805. And the South African rand testing resistance just around the 14.18 level. I'll put up a 3-month chart of the dollar index. I think you buy it on any pullback. Aurelia, who I follow on Twitter, and is very good on some markets, particularly sterling, talking about the euro dollar, saying it's still in the range. I think she's right. Commodity markets have softened up. Have a look at this commodity index. Although we've had a rebound, when you look at it over a longer time scale, you can see that we're still very, very weak. Gold prices spiked big after the Fed decision. We're last trading at 1340. And oil trades soft, not able to get a real bounce, but I think it's a bit of a trading buy after quite a steep sell down. But I still think we're going a lot lower. Sub-Saharan Africa, Ethiopia seen as the hottest market for exporters. Interesting article in the Financial Times. Likely to be one of the fastest growing markets for Western exporters in the next 5 years, while erstwhile emerging market heavyweights Brazil and South Africa offer paltry growth. Ethiopia alongside neighboring Kenya, the two countries that provide the strongest opportunities in Africa, and they are catching up with South Africa. They are going to grow fast economically. They do not rely on oil or other commodities. There is a rise in industrialization and entrepreneurship that is quite remarkable, and they are just past an income threshold where they start to import goods, says Mr. Hassan, who argues that Ethiopia has the edge because of its greater political stability and lower crime levels, and probably agree with that. And single letterbox, there is it's a system more like a Chinese system. You get an agreement at the highest level, and that agreement will be pushed through. The analysis by Mr. Hassan and Marco Valli, chief Eurozone economist at UniCredit, studied potential import growth for a dozen major EM countries based on factors such as projected growth in the size of their economies and working age populations. Importantly, the volume of imports in each country is not projected to rise merely in lockstep with the projected increase in consumer spending, but in some instances will rise much faster. In sharp contrast, income per head is projected to decline in both South Africa and Brazil in the next 5 years. Ethiopia's import markets, although far smaller in absolute terms, are tipped to expand much faster by between 40% and 90% for the 6 sectors outlined. Center of gravity for trade will shift towards East Asia, potentially playing into the hands of German exporters, which currently have the strongest penetration in the region. South African all shares down 6.36% this year. So up 6.36% this year. The ton of money's gone in there post-Brexit. South Africa's ANC likely to lose local vote in major cities. This will be a big hit if this comes through. They're predicting the ANC support set to slip to 31% in Johannesburg from 59% in the 2011 elections, and in Tshwane municipality, which includes Pretoria, to 23% from 55%. South Africa's a fire sale for tourists after Rand rout. Tourists are flocking to South Africa's game parks, beaches, vineyards as a weaker currency, and easing of visa rules make holidays cheaper and more accessible. It is a great destination and it's very cheap. We've always been a cheap destination relative to international markets. The fall in currency has taken that to extremes. Dollar Rand testing resistance. Let's see if we can break through here. I don't think we will. Egyptian EGX 30 up 12.97% so far in 2016. Nigerian all share is down 1.52% this year. CBA eyes troubled Congo bank as Kenyan lender plans expansion. Commercial Bank of Africa, Kenya's largest closely held lender, expressed an interest in buying struggling DRC lender Banque Internationale pour l'Afrique au Congo. They've sent a letter signed by the Nairobi-based company's managing director Isaac Awundo, dated June 30, to Congo's central bank, saying it was interested in expanding its footprint into the country by investing in the recapitalization of BIAC. As much as $100 billion would need to be invested in order to sufficiently recapitalize the bank. They've made tremendous ground with their M-Shwari product, and once Isaac told me proudly that they got to 10 million clients quicker on M-Shwari than Google. The press, Zimbabwean civil servants will be paid when there is money, Zimbabwe situation. We believe in a free market, and the free market dynamics should generally apply. This is Manoa Esipisu, the president's press spokesman, speaking about the bill to cap interest rates here in Kenya. It's obviously going to be turned back by the president. Have a look at one-year Treasury bill rates since 2011. You'll see the huge spikes we saw in Kenya in 2011 and then in 2015. Samia Africa reported half-year earnings. Earnings per share, 16 cents, down 5.882%. I'm still complaining about the continued onslaught of imported subsidized tires from the East. Talking about their economy brand summit, which is continuing to perform exceptionally well. Board expects top-line performance to improve in the second half of the year. Kenya shilling at 101.441. Nairobi all-share down 2.93% this year, rebounding of late because of the incredible performance of Safaricom, which is at a record high, and I think we'll close at a fresh record today. NSE 20, however, is at a 51-month low. It's down 13.99% this year. Once again, I appreciate the fact that you stopped by. I'm deeply grateful.